Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. I am starting my second vlog for my Squash That series, which is hosted by Kayla Ray Reads and is Bailey Reading, and I'll go ahead and link their channels down below. So in my last vlog, I ended up reading just one book, but it was the longest one on my series, and that is A Company of Fiends by Catherine Moon. And I went ahead and finished that last night. So I'm going to go ahead and start on my next book, which is my shortest, and that is volume 6 of Monstrous. I'm hoping to finish this in just one day. I mean, flipping through it, it looks like this one has very little text. Sometimes these have a lot of text, sometimes not so much. But I was hoping to finish this series during this readathon, but unfortunately my library does not have volume 7. And considering this one came out last year and it now just says new on it, I'm assuming it'll probably be about a year until they get it, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So this is an East Asian inspired sci-fi horror comic where we're following this character right here who has the body, the spirit or something of a old dead god inside of her, and this god can come out of her and, you know, kill people, or sometimes, unfortunately, to stay alive, eat people as well. So this book is relatively gruesome, so just a heads up if you're planning on going into the series, there's definitely some gory imagery in here. I am oftentimes a little bit confused by the storyline just because there is a lot of players. There is a war that is beginning between two parties. We have the human and the witches on one side, and then we have the descendants of the gods on the other side. And in the last volume, that war has really broken out. So I'm assuming that everything is going to be very intense, and it will probably leave me very much wishing that I had the last volume to read, but I don't. But overall, I really enjoy the art in these stories, which is one of the main reasons that I've stuck around. But the story in itself is also relatively interesting. I'm interested to see how the gods play a role in this war, and also just to see her character develop a bit more. She's definitely been developing a lot over the last couple volumes. She's been through a lot of trauma, and that's definitely taking a toll on her. But I will go ahead and just give you probably my final thoughts. I don't know if I'll update you too much on this book, but once I finish it, I will go ahead and dive into my next Kindle Unlimited read, and we'll give you more information about that when the time comes. So I've gone ahead and finished volume 6 of Monstrous, and I'm going to be giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this volume. I'm not going to talk too much about it since it's 6 volumes into the series, but I did like that we had some flashbacks to like happier moments and some kind of like family friend reunions to kind of balance out all the horrible things that were happening in the war, so that you weren't too overwhelmed with all the trauma and stuff that was happening. There's definitely some interesting revelations being made. A lot of the characters are kind of converging in one area now, which, you know, is relatively common towards the end of a series like this. So enjoying seeing everyone come together and seeing their relationships come to fruition, things like that. I really love Kippa, who is this little fox right here. I like that she's been a more central part to the story in the last few volumes or so. She's my favorite character. I like how complex the relationships are in this, because we have people who agree on some things, but not on others. So they're not always on the same side. Like sometimes they work together and then suddenly they're working against each other. So definitely very dynamic relationships throughout this. Once again, I really love the art. There was some really beautiful pages in this volume. So overall I had a really great time. Unfortunately, it definitely did end up on a cliffhanger, and considering I don't know when I'm going to be able to read the next one, I almost wonder if I want to give up the money and just buy it, which, you know, having the last volume of a series is kind of like not worth anything. But I definitely don't want to wait a year for my library to get it, so I'll see if I can get it another way. But yeah, went ahead and finished that. I believe this was only worth 50 points for Squash That series, and I think I can only take away 25 points because this book was published in 21 or 22. And I will let you know when I start my next book. That might be later tonight because I'm going to head to the gym finally feeling good enough to return to the gym. And then we'll see how my night goes, but I will let you know what I'm reading next when the time comes. Hey, so it is still Tuesday evening, and I just got back from the gym. I was finally feeling good enough to go. Didn't stay too long. Still feeling a little queasy and stuff like that, but on the up and up. I did start an audiobook when I got there. Now, this isn't part of a series, so it's not going towards Squash That series. It's part of my TBR, so I wanted to go ahead and finish that. It's only 4 hours, and I actually ended up getting 48% through it just at this one trip to the gym, so hopefully I'll be able to maybe even finish it tomorrow. But it is The House, or A House at the Bottom of a Lake by Josh Matterman. I'll put a little picture here real quick. And it is a young adult. I was reading it, and for some reason I thought it was an adult novel, but I was reading it, I was like, there's no way this is an adult novel. For one, the two characters we follow are 17 years old. We are following a young couple who are going on their first date by going kayaking at a lake. And while they're on this lake, they kind of see like a little tunnel that the water goes through, and they go through it and find another lake in which they find a house at the bottom of that lake. And they go ahead and explore it. I would say that the voice of the story is incredibly young and incredibly simple. So I'm not really super vibing with the voice of the story. It's just a little bland for my taste. It doesn't have really the sort of ambiance that I'm looking for, that eerie vibe that you would want from what is supposed to be kind of a creepy house at the bottom of the lake. I'm not feeling any sort of discomfort or, you know, nervousness or anything about anything that's happening to them. So not loving it, but it is a short story. So I'm just gonna push through it, and I will give you my final thoughts when I finish that. All right, guys, so it is time for me to start my next read, and that is A Chosen Man by Jamie Reese. So this is book 6 in the Men of the Halfway House series. These are all companion novels, all male romances. In the first one, we follow a man who has recently gotten out of jail and got a decent-sized inheritance from his aunt, and uses that to build a house that he can then use as a halfway house for other prisoners who are in a similar situation as himself. And so throughout the series, we have followed different men as they are released from jail and go through this halfway house. I think there was one romance that was between characters that are connected to the house but not prisoners. I have to admit for this one, I just read the synopsis and I don't really know. I didn't really get anything from it. It does kind of seem like it might be kind of a bodyguard romance and maybe even a slight age gap as well. So I don't know if maybe one of them is in like witness protection or if he was just recently released and has information on some dangerous people and needs to be guarded. But there's always just a lot of mental health rep in here because we are dealing with men who have gone to prison sometimes, even though they um, didn't really deserve to go to prison. There's kind of this overarching story of some deep corruption within the political and justice system that has, of course, negatively affected these men and things like that. So I will go ahead and jump into this. This book is a little bit over 400 pages, so it is the second longest book I plan on reading during this readathon, so it'll give me 100 points. Other than that, it's not going to take any points away for Squash That series, but I am hoping to read the book 7 in this series, which would then allow me to complete a series. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and jump into this, and I will let you know once I maybe get a slight grasp on where the story is going. All right, so I got through a whopping 23 pages. But I have now been introduced to both of my characters, so I can at least tell you a little about them. So we have our ex-con, Dylan, who was recently released from prison after being in there for 2 years for hacking. So he's really good at hacking and coding. He seems to possibly be kind of maybe on the autism spectrum a little bit. He has trouble with social cues in interacting with people. He spent his childhood in foster care, and he also seems to have a photographic memory and is really good at math. So he's one of those people who isn't good with social activities, but is incredibly intelligent, probably like on the genius scale. But he is now heading to the halfway house. He seems kind of to be someone who has given up on finding someone or finding a family, things like that, because he bounced home to home during foster care. And he actually went to jail or prison because of a guy he was having a relationship with, which made him feel really used, that, you know, the relationship wasn't really real. It was just someone who was trying to get him to use his hacking skills for something that was bad. He was actually trying to prevent that bad thing from happening. The other partner is Wall, and like Wall. He's called Wall. And he's a big burly guy who works for the police task force. And he as well seems to have some mental health issues as well. We did follow one of his partners on the task force in one of the previous books, and he was suffering from severe PTSD. So I'm assuming Wall suffers from that as well, since he is also ex-military, I believe. Yeah, I just been introduced to both of the characters. They both definitely seem lonely and like they want to find someone who kind of loves and accepts them in the way that they are. Both of them are relatively quiet. Wall doesn't really speak much. So it seems that personality-wise, when it comes to socializing, they will be rather similar. But yeah, excited to get into this book again. These are usually relatively slow burn books, and they're relatively long, but so far I usually do enjoy the mental health rep that they have in them. So I will let you know a bit more of my thoughts tomorrow, maybe. And I'm gonna hit the hay now. Hey guys, so it is the end of the work day, 5 o'clock. I'm about to get ready to go to the gym, but I just wanted to let you know that I finished a house at the bottom of a lake earlier today, and I'm going to be giving it 2.5 stars. I did think I was going to give it 2 stars, if not lower, for a decent part of the book. The ending came through a little bit, like the very, very ending was weird. Like, I don't mind if a book has kind of an open ending, kind of, you decide what happens kind of situation. But with this book, I really didn't know what to make of it. I don't know what, the author was aiming for, what he wants you to think, or anything along those lines. Paranormal, temporary insanity. I don't know what the purpose was, but there was a few chapters that were definitely really interesting. Overall, I thought it was just too simple. The writing was too simplistic, a little bland. It was very teenage angst, teenage obsession, teenage insecurity. The sex parts or sex talks were just kind of awkward. I don't know if it was because they were teenagers, if it was because the writing was so straightforward, if it was because it was written by a man. I don't know. But it just made me feel super awkward and everything. So I just didn't super vibe with the audiobook or the story, but glad I was able to check off a quick read. I will be starting Wild Card as my next audiobook, which is the second and last book in the Warcross duology. I don't know if the duology is called Warcross, but the first book is called Warcross by Marie Lu. Is that who writes it? I'll have to double check. I didn't check on the author in a little while. But this is a YA sci-fi story. In the first book, we follow our main protagonist, a young female who lives in America and is suffering from poverty. She works as a bounty hunter where she hunts down people who are illegally betting in the game of Warcross, which is kind of like a virtual reality video game. There is a big competition that is held within this game, and she one day glitches into the game while attempting to steal a rare artifact in hopes of selling it to pay off some debts. The creator of the game then flies her out to Japan so that she can take part in the competition as a way of trying to find a hacker who is trying to interfere with the game. So she's kind of undercover for the creator of this game, looking for this other hacker. I really enjoyed the story. I actually ended up giving it 5 stars. And I just had a lot of fun with the video game aspect of it. I liked that towards the end there was a lot more teamwork happening, so I'm hoping we see a lot more of that in this second book. I really enjoyed the romance, though I do predict a possible love triangle or her moving on to another character possibly, just because of some of the things that happened at the end. I don't really know, just getting like a hint of it, just with YA tropes being semi-predictable. But I just had a lot of fun with it, so hoping that I have a lot of fun with this one as well. And I will update you as much as I can, considering it's the second and technically last book in a series. But I will let you know just how I'm doing with it. It is 11 hours, so it'll take me probably more than 2 days this time around. But yeah. As far as my, which one is it called? A Chosen Man, I think is the one that I'm reading right now. I think I'm approaching the 100-page mark. I am chugging through it semi-slowly. Didn't do too much reading today, but I am enjoying it. our characters are starting to interact a little bit more. They have some serious chemistry right from the beginning. It does seem like, what's his name? Dylan, I believe. Dylan's past is kind of coming back to haunt him. Some people that he had worked for in the past are wanting him to finish the job that got him thrown into prison in the first place. So I'm thinking that Wall, the other character, is probably going to go ahead and act as a bodyguard to make sure that Dylan doesn't get snatched up. But other than that, not too much has been happening. And I will just let you know as I keep chugging along. Guys, so it is Thursday afternoon. I'm on my lunch break. I am on page 159 of The Chosen Man. I'm pretty sure that's what all these titles are so similar, I keep forgetting which one I'm reading, but I'm pretty sure it's The Chosen Man. I can't remember when I last updated you. I feel like it was yesterday before I went to the gym. So I did start Wild Card and I got 24% through it yesterday. I don't know yet if I'm going to the gym or not today. So I'm not sure if I'll make any more progress on that, but I am really enjoying it so far, just like I did with the first one. I really can't say too much about it because things are very different in this book than they are in the first one, so even talking about it a little can be rather spoilery, so I'll just let you know that I'm having fun. And as far as this book goes, it does look like some dangerous people are chasing after Dylan, so they are relocating him from the halfway house to one of the, what are they called? The witness protection houses. I don't know if they have a special name, but they're gonna go ahead and send him and Wall there, so they'll be isolated or secluded from other people, kind of in a close proximity kind of situation. They are very much having a lot of banter back and forth and teasing each other throughout the entire car ride, but there's also very clear things are very clear that Dylan is in a lot of danger, that some very dangerous, like military level people are after him. So stakes are really high, but I'm having a great time. It's causing me to laugh a lot, and just enjoying the two characters and their interactions. So I don't know how much more I'll update you on this. I mean, contemporary romances, I usually don't have too much to say on them. But I'll let you know when I get further either in Warcross or this book, or when I finish one of the two. Wanted to pop in real quick. I just went for a walk instead of going to the gym, which, considering the air quality is terrible, probably wasn't the best idea. But I didn't smell bad and didn't have any, coughing issues, or my eyes didn't burn or anything like that. So I ended up walking around Rainier Park, and I went and got a Cutter's Point chai latte, and then I ended up actually walking through my old neighborhood where, when we first moved here to America, we lived. And it's weird because it's like 15 minutes away from where I live now, and I pass it all the time, but I hardly ever walk in there. And so it's been a few years, I think, and just going in there, it was so weird, when you're there as a little kid, and then you're like, I could have sworn this cul-de-sac was bigger, or I could have sworn this driveway was longer, and everything's so much bigger when you're a little kid. So it was a lot of nostalgia for me going there. I had a good time. And the trees are definitely turning a lot more here, so you probably saw some videos of those. And the whole time I was there, I was listening to Wild Card, and I got 47% through that audiobook now. I'm having such a fun time with this story, just like I did with the first one. There's a lot of drama, and every time they drop like a new plot twist, I'm completely shocked and like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? So that's one of the things I just really enjoy about this story. I just get really hyped about it. Can't say too much about what's going on, obviously, but things are definitely looking really intense. I have no idea what could possibly be going on. I don't even know who I can really trust. So definitely gonna try and keep reading that. Probably not today, but yeah, I just wanted to pop in real quick, give that update, and I will talk to you later. This lazy cat has been sitting on this bed, on this blanket, in this spot since 8 o'clock this morning, and it is past 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. My poor mom cannot make her bed because the laziest boy to ever live. Get up, lazy chubba wubba. Hey guys, so it is Saturday morning, a little bit before 9 o'clock. I just woke up, but I wanted to go ahead and jump on here and finish up this vlog. Last night, I stayed up till midnight, way past this old lady's bedtime, to finish A Chosen Man by Jamie Reese. I decided that I would give this book a 4-star. I had a really fun time with it. I really enjoyed the relationship, the mental health. I liked the plot. Sometimes it was a little bit slow, but towards the end, I thought there was a lot of excitement and high stakes. I also really enjoyed the humor and the steamy parts in it. So overall, just a really fun time, which I've been having with this series for a while. I am going to be reading A Sweet Man starting in this next vlog, which I'll probably be starting right here in the same spot, which will go ahead and complete the series for me. So that's very exciting. As far as Wild Card goes, I am 66% through that, so you'll see my final thoughts of it in the next vlog, but this vlog is already becoming a bit longer than the last one, so I just want to go ahead and wrap it up. So these vlogs are a little shorter than my usual vlogs, but I am having a really great time with it. This book keeps dropping bombs on me, and I'm happy to be blown up. You know, it's just a lot of stuff is happening, keeping me really invested in the story, really invested in the ending, really excited to see how the story closes up, really enjoying the characters still. I think they're really complex. But other than that, I will save the rest of my thoughts for my wrap up and ending this vlog. But thank you guys, as always, for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!